Hello everyone, my name is Devin Gray, and today we're going to be covering the basics of HTML. Now, this is somewhat of a beginner video, obviously because we're going over HTML, and actually I was instructed to make this video as a request from Clever Programmer. They wanted to see how I teach and get an overview of sort of how I explain things, and they said HTML would be the easiest topic to explain. That I agree, so without further ado, let's get started. I just really want to use my camera. Okay, but for real, let's get started. So here is my little blog post. It's going to be coming out at the same time as this video. Don't mind that. But here, as we can see, is an example HTML block. Actually, let me preview this so you can get a better look at the HTML block. Here, we have our standard HTML. This is an example HTML file that you'll see. If we look at the source of any page, you'll see a Doctype HTML, some version of head and head information, a body tag, some divs, and some content. And I'm just going to go over kind of what each one basically means. So first, we are going to have our Doctype here. I didn't mean to cover it up. Our Doctype. Our Doctype basically explains to the browser what version of HTML we're using. Back in the day, there was all kinds of HTML, XHTML, 4.0, 4.1 transitional. We don't really worry about that anymore. It's pretty much all just under one HTML umbrella, but it's still good to define it in case you run into older browsers, which hopefully you don't have to code. Next, we have our HTML block. I cannot circle today. We have our HTML block. Basically, all things related to our web page go inside this HTML block other than the doc. Shove everything in there. Your body tags, your head tags, all of them go inside this HTML block. We're telling the browser, look, the HTML that we were talking about, it's all in here. So that's all that HTML code does. You could technically ignore it, but don't. Like, it's just good practice. Never forego good practice. Okay, next we have our, inside the HTML we have two blocks, our head and our body tag. So these two are also standards as far as what go into the HTML block. Our head tag is typically where we list all of the important things that our HTML page will need to load. So inside of our head tag would normally have meta information. As you see here, a title tag, which I'll go into in a bit, will list, style sheets that we need to download, maybe some JavaScript, fonts that we want. When you copy and paste a link and it shows that nice little, Facebook image and title and description, all that meta information also goes into the head tag. Basically, important information about your site goes into the head tag. Now, also, a little bit more explanation, the title tag is basically what we name our web page. If I didn't have so many titles or so many tabs open, let me just drag this out. You'll see the title of my webpage is HTML the Basics. It is also the title of my website. Basically, whatever title that you put in here will display up here in your tab or in your window, depending on how old your browser. Maybe you're using a browser in a time before tabs, in which case I feel sorry. Next, we have our body tag. Now, our body tag is basically going to have all the content inside of it. Everything that actually renders on the page, anything that renders throughout this page, all of this from this content up here, all the way down, I cannot scroll with this thing, all the way down to our footer down here, all of this is inside the body tag. And the body tag is just a wrapper saying, hey, here's the stuff that we're going to render. It's kind of important. Here's what we're going to display. And inside of our body tag, in this example, we have a div. Divs they're short for dividers, divisions, whatever. They basically divide your content up into different parts. Divs are a staple, and honestly, they're really overused, but that's a topic for another HTML video. Divs come in many different forms in HTML5. It's basically the same thing under different names. You see we have headers, we have navs, we have main, article, section, aside, block, quote, footer. They're basically all divs, and they basically all act the same as divs. All they do is, for the most part, tell our search engines that, hey, This main content here is the most important part of our page. Or this article is our article. Like, this is the part that you want to share in the RSS. Or, hey, here's an aside, kind of like a footnote. It's not that important, but it's still important. It's just a way to better tell search engines, computers, like, hey, here's what the different divisions of my content actually mean. If you're using a browser that doesn't use HTML5, they'll basically just be divs with different names, so you don't really have to worry about using them and then break. But if you use them properly, it will definitely help you in search. Okay, next inside of our div, we have our header tag. Nope, that's not the right shortcut. There we go. We have our header tag here. In this case, this is the H1. There should only be one H1 on the page, but basically the H1 is short for a header, and header 1 is basically the most important header on a page. There should only be one H. The header tags go from 1 to 6 in order of importance, H1 being the most important, H6 being the least important. But they are good ways of signifying sections of your page as well. For example, this would be an H2. These are all H3s, and our title, which is the same as our title up here, this is an H1, and there's only one H1 on the entire page. They're basically another way of saying, of marking up your content. If it was a Word document, H1 would be the main title, and all the other H2 through 6 would be subtitles. And then finally, the last tag I'm going to explain here is the paragraph. Now, the paragraph tag is what it sounds like. It's a paragraph tag. It signifies the start and end of a block of text. That's all it does. HTML doesn't recognize white space, so you can't just hit enter and expect the browser to respect that. So you need to signify a start and an end of your p tag, and then the browser will know, oh, okay, this is the end of a block of text, and then you'll get this nice indentation that you see here in between. I cannot scroll because of the stupid highlighter thing. That's how you get these nice lines in between. It signifies the start and end of a paragraph. Now, there are plenty more tags, but this is just a basic HTML overview. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are absolutely new to HTML, I hope this benefited you. If you forgot about some of these HTML tags, like the section and main tag, maybe you have to work with SEO and care about that sort of thing, I hope this was a good reminder for you as far as some of those tags, a reminder to use them because they are important and they are. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you watching through to the end. If you enjoy it, share with others, follow me on all sorts of platforms, and I will see you